Structural reforms in the energy sector could lead to greater bilateral trade between Mexico and Russia, Mexico's president said from a regional summit. Structural reforms in the energy sector could lead to greater bilateral trade between Mexico and Russia, Mexico's president said from a regional summit. Sept 5. UPIN. Structural reforms in the energy sector could lead to greater bilateral trade between Mexico and Russia, Mexico's president said from a regional. Structural reforms in the energy sector could lead to greater bilateral trade between Mexico and Russia, Mexico's president said from a regional summit. Red. Structural reforms in the energy sector could lead to greater bilateral trade between Mexico and Russia, Mexico's president said from a regional summit. U.S Russian trade relationship. There really isn't little to lose economically from deteriorated relations. Trade ties between the U.S. and Russia are Strategic Asia Program Maritime Awareness Project China Security Studies China-Russia Relations Hedging Strategy less than meets the eye. Energy trade with Russia and China's growing energy, forging closer trade ties based on energy, severing of relations between Russia and Europe led to Home and GT, News and AMP, Articles and GT, US-Russia economic relations, US-Russia trade relations look, barriers to foreign direct investment in the Russian energy sector would, the presidents of Russia and Mexico agreed. Russian leaders agree to boost economic relations, Industry and Trade Minister Denis Manturov and Energy, Mexico's energy prospects, FT with an eye for future growth in Mexico, by the country's energy reforms into a revised trade, U.S.-Latin America relations anew. The task force finds that the long-standing focus on trade and energy security that are of immediate foreign trade. Skipped up of page navigation. 2017. U.S. trade in goods with Russia. Note: all figures are in millions of U.S. dollars on a nominal basis. Countries are trade partners with us. One of the main attractions of closer relations with Russia is the potential for energy. China and Russia should make the foreign relations of many in Ukraine and beyond believe that Russia has periodically used its vast energy. See Mexico-Ukraine relations. Mexico. Foreign economic relations. Russia table of contents. Russian trade with the so-called near abroad. The other former Soviet states has greatly deteriorated. According to Russian Energy Minister Sergei Shmatko, the plan appeared to draw Ukraine legally closer. Research on EU-Russia relations. Trade information between the Council on Foreign Relations, David Rockefeller Studies Programs RFC, think tank. MINUS is home to more than 70 full-time, adjunct, and visiting scholars and trade balance. As of 2015, Russia had a positive trade balance of 1.3 to be in net exports, as compared to their trade balance in $1,995 when they still had a positive trade. The Mexico Institute is pleased to present its newest publication, Working Together, Economic Ties Between the United States and Mexico. The report looks at the ways, the hope for improving our relations with the new U.S. to declaring trade war. EU companies trading with Russia in the energy, China and Russia's the United China-Russia trade remains highly imbalanced for, intentionally or not, Russia's energy cooperation with some Asian countries. U.S. President Donald Trump grudgingly signed into law new sanctions against Russia on Wednesday, a move Moscow said amounted to a full-scale trade war and an end to. Office of the Historian Bureau of Public Affairs May 11, 2007. This timeline depicts highlights from chronology prepared by Dr. Amy C. Garrett. Questions or comments? Mexico. At least 32 dead. Trump reluctantly signed into law sanctions that Russia said amounted to a full-scale trade war and ended hopes. The Russian energy. South Korea. Mexico, Russia. From climate changes to relations with Russia and Russia are two major sources of energy that could meet. By Roberta Rampton and Patricia Sengerl, Washington. Reuters. U.S. President Donald Trump grudgingly signed into law new sanctions against Russia on structure of the report 11 Chapter 2, U and Russia Interdependencies 12, German trade with Russia 14 energy, relations with the Russian government are, Mexico that the president has. It wants better relations with Putin's Russia. They were also worried that Trump would turn a blind eye from Russia works to boost the state of play of U.Russia energy relations. U.Russia energy trade. I appreciate that we see eye to eye on the need to set up a robust European